See, the issue of overcriminalization is not just about criminal justice. It's about gender equity, children's health, family unity, economic justice, and more that we don't have the time to talk about today, like privacy rights and regressive taxes. The intersection of these issues, all or one of which may matter to you, should bring us collectively to the table to address them. And importantly, overcriminalization does not just impact those arrested and sentenced, but all of us. Overcriminalization dramatically hinders public safety by exacerbating the social conditions that lead to crime in the first place. But in doing so, it lines the pockets of the $80 billion niche prison industry with a deep financial interest in the overcriminalization of Americans. In fact, major players in the prison industry have plainly stated that declining crime rates, which improve our safety, hurt their business. An industry so offensive that it cannot advertise uses public fear-mongering to hide its interests and boost its business. A huge reason for overcriminalization, the prison industry is an impediment to passing smart policies that promote safety, freedom, and justice, and we must put an end to it. In closing, I would be remiss not to mention that the roots of overcriminalization and even the prison industry date back to the exception in the 13th Amendment, which gave way for the passage of black codes during the Reconstruction era that applied only to newly freed black people and criminalized minor offenses like vagrancy to feed the brutal practice of convict leasing, by which states leased incarcerated people to private businesses. More than a century later, slavery is still legal as criminal punishment.
Time's expired.
Okay, I have 2 sentences. More than a century later, slavery is still legal as criminal punishment, and we are still overcriminalizing minor offenses with a disproportionate impact on black and brown people. I urge you to not just seek minor tweaks to existing policy, but truly shift the trajectory of our country by ending the exception in the 13th Amendment, ending federal overcriminalization, and using the federal power of the purse to incentivize state and localities to do the same. I appreciate the opportunity.
Are you saying in your testimony that slavery still exists in America?
Excuse me. Yes, slavery is actually still legal in America. It's not just only that it exists in practice, but according to the 13th Amendment, there's an exception clause that says except as punishment for a crime, which means, by law, slavery is still allowed.
Let's go. That's the struggle of a man working on the chain. Yeah, yeah. That's the trouble of a man working on the chain. Yeah. Imagine being poor in the South after your freedom. No jobs available, got you begging and pleading. Police come and get you and lock you up for no reason. Re-enslaved, but they called it convict leasing. Manual labor was needed to plant and harvest crops, build highways, railroads. It's time to open shop. Companies paid for labor from the state, which was convicts. It was heartless, in fact. The ones they targeted black. That's the struggle of a man working on the chain. Yeah, yeah. That's the trouble of a man working on the chain. Yeah. Let's go. Convict leasing was really worse than slavery. Why? Because with convict leasing, no one even cared if you died. With slavery, if you passed away, they'll lose their investment. With convict leasing, they'll just replace you when death hits. Ages 14 to 70, they will work heavily, 6 days a week from dusk to dawn. Little food to carry on. Some children as young as 8 years old was enslaved. Working hard with the grown-up strapped to a ball and chain. That's the struggle of a man working on the chain. Yeah, yeah. That's the trouble of a man working on the chain. Gang. There was an increased need for infrastructure to move goods. Rail system, highways, demand steadily coming. The good roads movement secured federal funding. More shoveling, grading, leveling, digging, they dug in. Enslaved blacks built the wealth for the country again. Farmers could transport crops to the market, and then manufacturers could ship goods across country. Travel easy now. Even today they still work inmates, giving them pennies. That's the struggle of a man working on the chain. Yeah, yeah. That's the trouble of a man working on the chain. Gang. Come on. Lock 'em up. 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 That's the struggle of a man working on the chain. Yeah, yeah. of a man working on the chain.
Are you saying in your testimony that slavery still exists in America?
Excuse me. Yes, slavery is actually still legal in America. It's not just only that it exists in practice, but according to the 13th Amendment, there's an exception clause that says except as punishment for a crime, which means, by law, slavery is still allowed.